Crypto's great wealth transfer has already begun, although many people remain unaware that this is happening. But since you clicked on this video, you're going to be one of the few who actually understand this situation and understand what the heck is going on. You see, there are things happening right now in the global economy, big things happening right now that can indicate that a new major cycle is heating up, not just for Bitcoin. This is a cycle in which trillions in profits will inevitably be made. But let me explain what exactly is going on here in the crypto context, specifically for Bitcoin, and my reasoning for thinking this. First, I want you to look at this chart. This is a simple monthly chart for Bitcoin. Nothing fancy here, but it tells a very incredible story. You see, the last two Bitcoin bear markets in 2015 and in 2019 ended when the price started trading above the orange downtrend line. Now in 2023, we have just witnessed the same thing starting to happen. We've put our first couple of monthly candles in above that downtrend line. Of course, history does not repeat, but it does often rhyme in markets. Now, this breakout that we're currently seeing could represent the start of that new cycle, which in my opinion could see the price of Bitcoin rally as high as 48K in 2023. Although I do want you to keep something in mind. Bitcoin has never put in a new all-time high after a bear market and before the Bitcoin halving, which is currently slated to come in around, let's say, April-ish 2024. After which, again, if we go based on this whole 4-year cycle theory concept, which has so far proven true for Bitcoin, then we could see new cycle highs and a cycle top could potentially be expected either in late 2024 or early 2025, at which point the bear market buyers will be partaking in a massive wealth transfer. The bottom buyers of 2023 will be selling to the top buyers of 2024, 2025. Here's famous Wall Street analyst Dan Pena laying it out in more simple and perhaps a bit less eloquent terms, although he's not talking about Bitcoin here, but you get the general idea.
What are you going to tell your kids and your grandkids 25 years from now when they say, gee, Daddy, gee, Grandpa, what were you doing other than having your thumb up your big fucking ass during the greatest transformation of wealth in the history of the world? Fuck all, nothing. It's never gonna get any better than this, kids. This is the eye of the perfect motherfucking storm. This is it.
Dan, he always makes me laugh, but he's also right. Now, let's discuss some of the things happening that add a lot of fuel to this thesis fire, so to speak, instead of just relying on one chart. Probably the biggest and most important factor in markets right now is a rise in global liquidity. See, money is being poured into the system at a rate that's near historical. And now this money coming to the system has in the past been a very reliable indicator for bullish market conditions to warm up. Think of it like this. November was the low tide point for global liquidity. Now the tide is starting to come in again, starting to rise again, and it will keep rising until we reach the high tide mark and we come in for a new low tide. We generally see markets rise in line with money inflows and global liquidity. So far this year, we've seen massive money injections from central banks. The USA has expanded its balance sheet by a few $100 billion, just a few $100 billion. Nothing big, right? That's big actually. The Fed has implemented what they're calling the Bank Term Funding Program, which will allow banks in the USA to get cash for US government-backed assets like treasuries without having to realize crushing losses and then have their banks go bankrupt. Currently, US banks are sitting on $620 billion in unrealized losses. Ouch. The aim of the program is to stop a wider contagion effect for the banks and for the banking crisis to be very limited and not to take out hundreds of banks in the USA. And of course, to make sure depositors are protected during this situation. Now, the program has also been extended to foreign central banks who can extend that to local banks domestically in those foreign situations. This is basically a backdoor bailout for every bank in the world holding US treasuries and US mortgage-backed securities. It's insanity, man. They don't have that money. It's all money printing is what we're talking about here. Meanwhile, China is also starting to open back up its economy in a big way, and they've been injecting huge sums of money into the banking system. In fact, it was China that actually started the rebound on global liquidity back in November. They're the ones who turned the tide, right? And in Japan, the government has been on a bond buying spree, just sucking them up like a vacuum cleaner off the market, setting a new record, in fact, with how much they've been buying. Hundreds of billions we're talking about here. So the top 3 economies globally are all injecting money on a truly epic scale, a record-breaking scale in some situations. And then there is the Federal Reserve, which is widely thought to be stopping interest rate hikes sooner rather than later in the USA. We can add in to this really the long-term picture here for Bitcoin, that we're seeing, adoption continuing to soar. It's continuing to rise. We're seeing so many stories coming through, like Fidelity opening up Bitcoin trading to the 37 million customers. Probably not a big deal, right? It's kind of a big deal. The eBay of Latin America letting users buy stuff using Bitcoin in Chile. That's a cool story. It's great for adoption. We see Hong Kong opening up China, crazy, to Bitcoin with both ETFs and spot purchases for retail investors. We have 1,200 German banks which are going to start offering Bitcoin to customers over in Germany. And that's all just from the last couple of weeks, right? Just a few little stories here for you. And just one of those news stories would have been explosive 5 years ago. The rails are being built, the in-ramps are being built for money to flow into the market, and smart money is indeed getting in right now. The smart companies are getting in, the smart countries are building the regulatory infrastructure to let people get in. And now, before I share the harsh truth of this wealth transfer, I wanted to let you know about my weekly newsletter. It's called Wealth Mastery. It's a crypto investor report. Every single issue is just jam-packed full of alpha on altcoins, airdrop alpha, NFT alpha, DeFi alpha, technical analysis, and much, much more. Look, I get it. I understand. Life is damn busy sometimes, but you still want to stay up to date with what is happening in crypto. Maybe you want to find some opportunities in this market. Well, that is exactly why we made this newsletter for you. Join our over 60,000 weekly readers and sign up for free, yes, free, using the link down below in the description. Now let's talk about the harsh truth, the reality of this great wealth transfer. And it's good news if you're here now, bad news if you're listening to this video in late 2024. And it's this: bear market buyers will use bull market buyers as the exit liquidity. It's just how markets work, man. I don't make the rules. If you're here now, then listen to this. In late 2024 and early 2025, it's most likely going to be when the smart money crowd is selling. When you see everybody posting, videos of watches and cars they're buying, when the Coinbase app's #1, that's a red flag, guys. That's saying, holy cow, market's overheated. Maybe it's a time to consider taking some profits in the market, right? This is not the time when the smart money guys are going to be buying. Oh, sure, look, there's gonna be lots of, stuff popping off. There's gonna be new coins that are gonna make money real quick. There's gonna be new trades to take, shorts to make, new ways to make money, new airdrops, new NFTs, all that stuff. But for the most part, if we consider the market cycles, the broader market trends, then that will not be the best time of reward. The time of greatest reward and lowest risk is actually to buy during a bear market when not many people actually want to buy because everyone's scared. The time of least reward and highest risk is buying at new all-time highs in peak euphoria during a bull run where most people come in and buy and think they're geniuses, but it's actually the highest risk time, the time you're most likely to lose money. Now, you may not like what I'm about to say, but it's true. Bull market buyers are the exit liquidity for bear market buyers. It's just how markets work, whether we're talking about crypto or stocks or anything. It is the crypto wealth transfer that is coming. Those who stick around during the hard times and position themselves for the good times are the ones most likely to profit big time in these markets. Look, market cycles rhyme so much because there's one key factor that drives markets that never changes. Humans, people, right? And humans tend to act in a similar way because our psychology acts in a similar way. As Warren Buffett once said, markets are a tool for transferring money from the impatient to the patient. Now is the time for patience and accumulation. 2024, 2025, that will be the time for the impatient to come in and take the bags of those who had been patient. Also, do keep in mind, I could be totally wrong. You can lose all your money. We could be in for the worst global recession ever, the lost decade, all that fun kind of stuff. So there is that to keep in mind as well. Okay, that's it. Subscribe now. See you next time.